Hey there, my name is Mr. Smith, and I'm the head of school here at Texas Online Preparatory School. If you're a returning student, welcome back. If you're a new student, welcome here. This is probably the first time that you're seeing a video update from me, unless you watched the intro to school, the school year video. And I'd say that usually my videos are fun. I try to keep them pretty short. This month will probably be a little bit longer because I'm going to go over some of the policies and procedures here at the school that will help you guys get from enrollment into your coursework and figure out what's next for you as you go along your journey here at TOPS. We know that you guys have just come through the enrollment process, which sometimes can seem burdensome. It can take much time and many calls and many uploads and all that and much more. And so I thought I'd take just a second to kind of build some context around why that process looks the way it does and why sometimes it feels a little harder than it would if you were walking down to your local brick and mortar school. Of course, the normal thing would be because we're online, it's just that much more difficult. You have more things that you have to do, more clicks of a button, more images to take, apps to download, all the rest. But the biggest thing is that if we're a school of 3,500 students between our three campuses, and if we were a school district, if we were a school district of the same size, we might receive about 150, maybe as many as 250 new applications a year. And at tops, typically in each enrollment season, this year we will enroll about 3,500 kids right up into this point, and we'll have received upwards to 13 to 15,000 applications to get to 3,500 enrolled. And so all of our schools here in Texas, all the K-12 schools, all of the online schools in general, have this uniqueness to them that we receive more enrollment than anybody else and more what we call leads for enrollment than anyone else. And so to be able to handle that amount of enrollment and the calls and everything else, we utilize K-12's Enrollment Center. And a lot of times what happens is that as you call, the information that you're looking for right there at your hands is not quite there because there's a process in place to try to make sure we get you through all of the uploads in time. And we know that it can be frustrating, and we work every year to make that better. But I want to say this, that if you're getting this message and you're still confused, or if you're still a little bit lost, or you may have a document or two left to upload, what we do know is that you have a reason for being in our school, and we're glad that you've pushed through the process this point. And if you're a family that has yet to start with us and you're in that boat and trying to finish up those last few steps, feel free to reach out to myself, reach out to your principal, and we'll point you in the right direction or get you in touch with the person who can get you what you need or help you to upload the documents that really solidify your place here in this school. Many times it's just a matter of re-reviewing something or adding something additional to your application or even just getting something re-uploaded. Next, I wanted to talk to you about how to contact the school and what might help to facilitate you getting information faster than ever before. First thing is you'll see below this video a link to a contact newsletter. That newsletter should be your one-stop shop. Bookmark it, make sure it's saved on your phone, keep it as handy as possible. What you'll find in there is the information and this is a live document or a live newsletter, and as changes come, we'll be able to change it. So as long as you save that bookmark, you're good to go. And this has all the contact information for your student support advisor. Your student support advisor is your point of contact here at the school. They're the person you're going to want to contact when all things just don't feel right, when you feel like you can't do it all, when you're not sure about a system, when you can't get in touch with a teacher and you need to talk to them right now. This is the person you're going to call. This is the person that wants to know, what did you have for breakfast this morning? How's it going? Are you enveloping those tops habits that we've talked about? Are you making a plan for the week? Are you working in your bed over there, with the covers over your eyes? P.S. That doesn't work. Are you got the Xbox over here playing Fortnite or whatnot over here for a second with one hand and trying to watch Class Connect with the other? Yeah, that doesn't work either. The student support advisor is your point of contact at the school, and we want you to be able to get in touch with them as quickly as possible whenever you need them. The numbers that are included, I think with the exception of maybe two right now, because we've got a little phone issue for those guys, uh, uh, you're able to text as well. So that's really great. And so there's your one-stop shop to get in touch with them at any time. The second bit is that you'll see a lot of forms here. These are the most common forms that you guys need and ask for on a daily basis that our office has to basically handle and ship out and make sure you get exactly what you need. So on that front, there's no real reason to have to contact the office or call your advisor on those. You can simply click the form that you need, fill out that survey, and within 24 to 48 hours, the office will fulfill that request. If it's an escalated request, it's something you need right now, today, or the world's going to implode. Usually that's a VOE. You need to call your advisor and let them know exactly what your situation is and why you need it so quickly, and they will help you to process that as quickly as you possibly can. The next thing is, and this is probably the most important thing I'll say, is that when you're contacting anyone at our school by email, it's incredibly important that you give us a little bit of information, and probably a little bit more information than normal, so that we're able to facilitate your request faster and to figure out whatever it is you need that much more quickly. So the first thing is, and this is best practice, is to always include your first initial, your last name, and your student ID. If you put that in the subject line of your email, guaranteed your advisor, your teacher, your principal, whoever, they will thank you. They will be beaming that you've put that in there. That makes us incredibly happy, because by having your first name, last name, that's about 2 steps to find out who you are and what's going on with you. Your student ID, that's just 1 step. We copy paste that in, boom, we get right into your account. We can see all the notes. We can see who else to talk to. We can see your tickets if you got tickets in with help desk. We can see a whole bunch of stuff to see what it is we need to do to help you. Now, if you're a parent and you're emailing us and we don't know who your student is, we don't have, and this is just a good example, we don't know who your student is, we don't have their ID, your email is not your name, to try to figure out how your email connects to your student and how your email connects to your name is no less than 4 to 5, sometimes 6 to 7 different steps, copying and pasting. And then we got to figure out whether or not we can talk to you as the learning coach, or we need to talk to legal guardian, what information we can share. It's a little bit more complicated than it just seems on the surface of just sending an email or firing an email off. So make sure you're giving us that student ID and telling us who you are. And the biggest part of that is, in this world in which we text message and Instagram and tweet and Facebook and hashtag and all that stuff, a lot of times the communication we're getting is just kind of lacking those normal kind of greetings and salutations, cordial kind of stuff that we would have whenever you don't know the other person on the other end of the line unless we've spoken before or unless we've emailed before. And because of that, sometimes we're not really sure how to respond. An example is, I've gotten 3 to 4 emails just today based on some emails that I sent to the school yesterday, where the responses I got were just, "What's this?" question mark, or "I've already explained this, period." Well, it's tough, because I usually, when we send emails out, at least in my case, I'm sending emails and they go to the students and they go to the parents. That's 7,000 emails that go out, with one click of a button for me. So it's hard for me to know how to respond, whether or not I can respond, what the best response is without a little bit of information for you. You can help us all out by giving us that information up front, making sure you have your student ID in the subject line, and just kind of building this relationship between us as we go along throughout the school year. We look forward to getting to know you better, and we know by corresponding just with some cordial language on the front end, that'll help us to get to know you and to facilitate your request that much quicker. If you're new to our school, or if you're coming back this year, you'll notice that we used a new readiness assessment to get you started for this school year, and that was your MAP test, or your MAP assessment. This assessment is an incredibly cool tool that allows your teacher to have basically twice or 3 times the data that they've ever had before about where you are, if you're a student, in your learning. Or if you're a parent, where your student is in their learning. And what's unique to the online school is that we do something different in our schedules. We're similar to a brick and mortar school in that we do schedule the day just like anyone else would. This teacher goes at this time and this teacher goes at this time. But what's different is that each teacher has multiple times at which they may be scheduled to teach just a few kids. And the reason for this is that we feel like we can target the instruction based on the data that we have and then reassess you as you go along, whether that's just a check-in at the 9-week mark, or whether it's a check-in at the 6-week mark, or whether we're looking to do something near Christmas and kind of a middle of the year thing. At all of those progress check-ins or those progress checkpoints, we're looking to see where you are and if you're growing. If you're growing and you're learning from year to year, if you're mastering grade level content, and by having that data, then we need to know, hey, maybe this student needs to meet 4 times a week because they're behind. Or maybe this student is somebody who didn't meet their progress from year to year last year, and so you need meet 4 times a week in math. But we know that the curriculum also is teaching you as you go along. So if we just stick you in a classroom for an hour and a half a day, and you do a block schedule, you do four classes on this day and 3 classes the next day, and then you have a lab or anything like that. If we were doing that, then that might not be the most adequate and accurate thing for your student. So we need to do something a little bit different, a little bit more fluid, a little bit more data driven, to make sure that your student has exactly what they need to grow throughout this school year. Every school year, another big question that comes up is that what do I do when there's an outage? What do I do when my computer doesn't work? What do I do when the system just doesn't seem to be working correctly? Always the first thing to do, if you know specifically that it's a computer issue, is to go ahead and clear your cache. If you call the help desk, if you ask your advisor, one of the first things they're always going to do is say, hey, did you delete your cookies? Did you delete your history? Did you clear your cache? And if you've done that, then what's the next thing that's not going right? So you always want to start with that step. And then the second thing is, if it's specifically a computer problem or a system problem, you could totally ask your advisor about that. But your advisor is most likely going to point you to help.k12.com. There's a 1-866 number, as well as other ways to get in touch with service providers and our ticketing desk that'll be able to help you with some of the different aspects of the online schooling environment. Also along those lines is, if you have materials to return to us, or you've received materials or you haven't received a material, help.k12.com is also a great place and a great resource for you to track down those items, or to figure out how to do your materials and shipping, or print a return label, or any of those types of things. Again, your advisor is always there to help point you in the right direction, but if you go to help.k12.com, you may get there a little bit faster. For you returning families and students, you may have noticed something a little bit different about me this year. I don't know. It's not my haircut, maybe the glasses. I don't know if I ever wore the glasses much last year, although the doctor tells me I have to now. But I'm not in a suit. I'm not in a jacket. I'm not in a button up. I've got a little bit different swag this year than last year. Now, I'm not exactly sure if this one is on order right now through the T Public store down below, but we do have a T Public store, and we're going to be doing a little bit more with it this year, uploading some designs. We may even do a couple of contests and try to get a few students' designs on our store so we can sell your stuff directly. That's my hope. I'm pretty excited about that, actually. But one of the things that we do there is we do a couple of things. We have our top shirt. You can go out there and get a onesie for those 1-year-olds, those future top students. Like my 1-year-old is running around in a tops onesie. You could get a t-shirt. There's the baseball style, there's the hoodies, there's mugs, there's stickers, there's all kinds of stuff. And what that does, and what we do with the proceeds from that, is we help that helps us to fuel more student activities across Texas. It helps us to fuel to make sure that we have a prom, and that we have a graduation, and that we have as many outings as we possibly can, and all that stuff. It pays mileage for teachers to go out to different sites, to head out to our coffee shops and stuff that I'm about to talk about here in a second. And so all of those things help us to do more for you guys and to see you more. So get in there and get some swag. Make sure you're representing tops as you're out and about. You can even represent tops in your house. It's fine too. Like I have all day to day. Don't tell anybody though. Next thing I want to introduce is our local lattes. It's an incredible name, by the way. I just have to say that on the front end. I don't know who created it because I'm just kidding. It wasn't me. It was a collective effort. Actually, I don't remember who did it, but I love it. Anyway, local lattes, they're all around the state. You'll see multiple sites, many more sites than you do when we do our outings. And that's purposeful. We want you to have a top staff member that lives in your community that you know about. Maybe it's not your teacher, maybe it's not your advisor, but hey, this is somebody that knows about this online school thing that you're going through and somebody that you can connect with. And it also lets you know, hey, these are other people, the other kids, the other parents, the other people that are going through this thing just like me. Maybe I can connect with them. Maybe we'll decide to go to a movie next Friday afternoon after the kids are done with all the work. Maybe we'll decide that hey, we're gonna take a little field trip of our own. So those are the things we want to try to facilitate through the online school experience. And local lattes will help us do just that. Hope to see you at one, especially if you get at a place that has really great espresso. I'll see you there. Next, I want to talk to our high school students. High school students, if you are not signed up for a PSAT, SAT, ACT, and you're looking to accelerate, you're looking to graduate early, you're looking to go to Harvard, I've heard it all. If you're not doing those things, you're not talking to your counselors about those things. They just had an informational session just last week. If you're not in the know on that stuff and you haven't looked at your grad plan just yet, you need to be doing that. You need to be checking that out. Another great resource for students that are, I think, 13 and older, which is typically seventh grade and up. If you don't have a Tallo account just yet, if you haven't set up your Tallo profile, that's Tallo, just yet. I don't know what you're doing. Tallo is awesome. Tallo is basically LinkedIn for kids, is what I like to call it. And Tallo allows you to set up a profile that colleges and universities can see and use, and you can use in your resume, in your applications as you go along. And what it also does is it kind of, based on your SAT score, your ACT score, your internships, community service you've done, your GPA, your rank, based on all of those things, it kind of sits there and aggregates and figures out, well, hey, this is how many scholarships are out there available to you in the world. In America, this is how much it is. We had a student that signed up for this just last spring. They put their information in. They were a pretty high achieving student with us, top 10% of their class. Within literally 24 hours, they had more than $500,000 in scholarships that they could apply for. They didn't have the money yet, but it showed them which ones they were eligible to apply for. So Tallo is a great resource to do those things. If you're not signed up yet, even if you're a seventh or eighth grader, get in there, start building your profile, start raising your profile, and figuring out what you need to do to get on those next steps, to get on the path towards what your career is going to be and what you want to do in the future. The next thing I wanted to talk to you about was accelerated instruction. When we called you guys at the beginning of this school year, we asked many of you, what was your reason for joining TOPS? What was the reason for choosing the online school, specifically the online public school? And many of you said accelerated instruction. And so our assumption is that most of you are looking to do something advanced. You feel like your public school or your local school that you were in wasn't quite giving you the enough instruction or something, or maybe not that higher level of rigor that you need, or this, that, whatever. And we do want to facilitate those things, but I want to make sure that you're aware of some of the same policies that may exist here, and how to navigate those policies and create pathways for you to be successful in the online school. So if you're a student that's in grades 3 through 6 and you're looking to accelerate your instruction, most typically that is reserved for students looking to go from third grade and you want to go to fourth grade, or fourth grade to fifth grade to sixth grade. And so you need to go and take 4 credit by examinations in those core content courses, which are science, social studies, math, and reading, or ELA, and you have to pass with a score of 80 or above. If that happens, then there's a secondary process that happens for ensuring that you're in the appropriate grade level and you're receiving the instruction that you need. Secondly, is if you're a student that's in 7th grade through 12th grade, then the purposes of credit by examination, or accelerated instruction, let's call it, is for you to gain high school credit, to be on an early graduation path, or to gain more skills along your way, or maybe to get a college degree by the time you get out, and all of that. completely fine. We want to help you facilitate those things too. But there is several things that happen. One is that tests are scheduled at certain times of the year in certain intervals. There's also a process of notifying your counselor and making sure they're helping you to schedule those tests, or looking for outside vendors to schedule those tests. And so it's not as simple as just having a transcript that says, and this happens a lot. You have a transcript that says, "Oh, sixth grade GT, sixth grade GT, and this is what sixth grade GT math. So when I go to seventh grade at tops, I should take eighth grade math." Well, if your transcript, depending on the way it's coded, there's a lot of codes here in Texas, and so when depending on the way that transcript is coded, the counselor has to take that and then put you in the appropriate course. So a lot of times what happens is that the prior school district has their own internal system of how they treat and give instruction to students without changing the coding off grade level. And when that happens, we don't have the data that we need to be able to just move you up a grade level in math or move you up a grade level in reading. But if you feel like you're still not getting that level of rigor that you need, or that level of service that you need in this process, you have to make sure you're conversing with your counselor, giving them whatever data you may have. If you've had a GT screening before, if you've had a different kind of testing that you've done before, if you've done credit by examination before, we need additional documentation. We need additional conversations to be able to facilitate your learning in that manner. And the more we get to know you, the more we'll know how to create those pathways for your students to succeed in the online school. And I'd like to send you off with this, which is that every single year, that same call that we have where we ask you those questions, we always generate a lot of feedback. And I would say probably more than 60% of you have told us that the reason that you're here is one of three things. It's you were bullied at your prior school. You experienced some amount of anxiety at your prior school, whether that's anxiety from the learning, anxiety just from the atmosphere, anxiety from being away from home for 7.5 hours a day or 8 hours a day, and then also just overall school safety. This is one of the great things about being in the online school, is that we do feel like a little bit that we're able to open our doors, let's say, and be a safe haven for students. It doesn't mean that things don't happen here. Doesn't mean that students don't write things in chat they shouldn't write, or speak to each other in a way they shouldn't speak, or talk to each other on social media outside of the school parameters. All of those things happen every school year. All those things are dealt with throughout the school year, just much in the same way that brick and mortar schools would deal with them. But what's different here is that by being that safe haven for your student, and by having somebody like your student support advisor at your, at just a phone call away, at a text message away, um, to be able to give you that support immediately. And for parents to have access to seeing exactly what it is your students are learning throughout the school year and how those teachers are interacting with you, there's a different level of partnership that happens between parent, between student to teacher, parent to teacher, and all of the above, that allows us to be in the know about you and to know you that much more well, even though we're remote and we're far away. And we couldn't mean it more when we say that we absolutely care about your students' learning. We absolutely care about your students' growth. We are so happy that you're here. We want to see you safe, secured, and we want to see you empowered and equipped for success in learning and life, which is our motto. And as you go through this next month, as you go through these next few months, as you go throughout the school year, please, please, please let us know what's going on with you. How can we help? What it is you need, whether it's emotional, whether it's social, whether it's academic, whatever it may be. We are here for you, even though you may not see your teacher every single day, just face to face, like you do at brick and mortar school. I can't express to you enough how much your teachers, your advisors, your counselors care. They will go the extra mile for you, as will I. And we thank you and we appreciate you. And we're so happy you're here.